it's still loading. There we go. Hopefully,
Yeah.
we are now live.
Yes, we're live.
We're live. Fantastic. Okay.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. It's Katie here. And I'm so excited today to welcome a special guest to join us, who is teacher Grant. And while I hand over to Grant to give his quick introduction, do you guys want to just let us know in the chat that the tech is all working fine, and tell us who you are, where you're tuning in from, and what you're excited to discuss today? And while everyone does that, Grant, do you want to just tell us a bit about you?
Sure. My name is Grant, and I've been teaching for about over 15 years. And I'm currently teaching here in Vietnam. I teach English, and for about 8 years back in 2014, I taught in China. So I've kind of been all over the place. So I started at preschool and daycares in the States, and then moved to China to teach English, and here I am now in Vietnam. And I'm primarily teaching online.
Fantastic. That's quite a good kind of range of different things you've been working on. I also did some teaching in China before and taught in Japan for a while and taught online. So I kind of feel like we've got some kind of overlap there, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, I taught on site a lot. I actually, well, it was all I did in China, but with the
Yeah.
exception of teaching online. But I primarily taught at a kindergarten in China for the majority of my time. Worked actually what most people don't do. I worked at the same kindergarten pretty much 90% of my time there in China, and from there just yeah, so I teach a variety of ages. So I'll even teach a couple one-on-ones, but mostly I teach group classes, and the group classes are typically 4 to 6 students.
That's awesome. That's something I think a lot of people are interested to hear about today. There was a couple of topics we were kind of brainstorming beforehand to focus on in today's session. I'm so really excited to have you, Grant, join us. You've got so many great insights to share. But I think the key things that people were interested in was particularly about the group class side of things. Lots of people want to kind of scale up with groups, and also hearing about how you found students from Vietnam, because I know a lot of teachers focus on the Chinese market, myself included. So it'd be really great to hear sort of some tips and insights on that as well. So by the way, if you're joining us live, do pop in the chat any questions you have as well as we go along. For Grant, talking about any of these kind of topics, anything you would like to know. Yeah, do you want to tell us a bit then about maybe about how you got into teaching Vietnamese students? I'm interested. Like, you live in Vietnam now, right? Is that
Yes.
what got you into the teaching online with Vietnamese students? Or were you teaching online before?
There was a platform that kind of became kind of a copycat of Facebook, but it didn't really go as it was. But anyways, that platform got me connected with a person who was really passionate about learning English, and she had a connection with a parent. That parent had a connection with other parents, and that parent was actually a teacher. So it kind of became kind of like a pyramid. So in that platform, I started just doing it for free. Mind you guys, that was not, I had a full-time job. So I was able to afford to do that, if that makes sense. So I was able to do these free classes about twice a week. And so I've just built myself, my image, myself, just to let people know who I am. And for those years, it led to parents going, well, I want you all to myself. I'm like, well, I'd love to do that, but I don't have all the time in the world to do free classes for everybody. And then that led to a group paying, and that's where it's led me to where I am today. So just basically networking, word of mouth is the biggest thing. I did not do a lot of like paid marketing. It was just really just being up close and personal with these families. You have to really have a sense of being a part of their lives, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So how do you go about doing that? What was your kind of your strategy then in terms of the marketing, that kind of community building aspect? I know we talked a bit about before as well.
So fast forward after that platform kind of went away. There's a kind of like WeChat in Vietnam. They have Zalo, so they had a Zalo group. So all these parents and families were in the Zalo group. So they would tell other friends. It was like I said, the real magic was word of mouth, because almost every single parent, I go, how did you hear about me? From this parent. You teach her kid. I go, oh yeah, I know who that. Yeah, and then that just kind of it just keeps going and going. There's a word I'm looking for. I can't think of it. I'm kind of
word of mouth. Like word of mouth, really is quite.
Yeah, it was a word of mouth. It was like an infinite loop, kind of almost. And it's a matter of speaking, an infinite loop.
Yeah.
So And there was rare occasions where some people, I always look at mutual friends, and there would be occasions when there's no mutual friends, and they literally just saw my post on a group that I was in, and
Mm-hmm.
supposedly there were no mutual friends together. Because I'm always invited. Now about those groups, usually these parents have these groups where their children will like post stories or post English like videos, like presentations and stuff like that. And what I would always do, and what I still do, is I'll watch those videos and I'll throw a compliment. I go, wow, I really love the way you talked about the earth. There was one student who did one on the UK. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
wow, well done. So I'm always interested in seeing what's going on the outside. And then when I'm expressing that interest, it usually will spark others to go, oh, wow, this teacher's like watching my kid.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
No, I think that's
um
fantastic. And oops, sorry.
yeah, there I'll say one more thing and then I'll let you go.
Yeah, go
I'm
for
a
it. I
wordy
really,
guy.
I'm so excited just to
There was
let you kind
one
of
video
talk
I
about all these
saw
different ideas.
where a mother posted a video, and it was her child introducing what he was eating for lunch.
Oh, yeah.
And I just commented, wow, it looks very delicious. And then I also, on a side note, I said, because they were saying the word meals. These are all my meals. I was like, wait, meals. It's one meal, many dishes. So I made a mention to the mom and said, oh, yeah, I heard him say meals, and I think he might want to say dishes next time. Unless I'm wrong,
Mm-hmm.
that's the UK thing. We say dishes, right? Not
Yeah,
many
we're the
meals.
same.
Like that's
We're the
like
same.
okay, good. Because I had
Dishes,
to look it
the
up and go.
dishes make the
Anyways,
meal.
and that led me to kind of like talk. So what is he doing outside? Is he going to English class at the center or whatever? And then it was just oh no. Then I said, when does he have time? Would he like to join my Saturday class? And bam, got her. Like
Mm-hmm.
you gotta know the interest of what's going around you. You know, you have to know how. It's like, guys, you may need to take customer service 101 if you guys don't know how to do that part, is where it might lead to. So,
I
yeah.
think the key thing, if you kind of take a step back and think about the strategy you're using here, is that you're using sort of a kind of community-focused platform like Facebook, for example, or Zalo, or these
Mhm.
kind of platforms, and you're looking out for things that people are creating, like videos of their kids or like top tips or things that they're sharing, and then you're adding your own insights on that, something positive, something valuable. They're getting to know you and trust you because you're clearly an expert in what you do and you're being nice and friendly and building that rapport. And then you're
Yeah.
offering them something free to actually try out your teaching more directly.
Yeah, exactly. You have to, from the small circle that you guys have, and I think you probably have heard this expression many times. It takes one. I call them
Yeah.
the golden parent. And if you think about your first golden parent, becomes four more golden parents because that parent told four parents, and if they like you, they're going to tell more. They're going to tell their friends. It's like you go to a restaurant and you love this restaurant. You're going to tell your best friend, oh my gosh, this new restaurant that just opened down the street, it's really good. Then your friend's going to go there with her friend or boyfriend, girlfriend, family, and then it's going to be another ripple effect. So it's kind of, maybe that's a bad analogy or good. Anyway, that's kind of the way I look at it. Another note is I do free classes every weekend. So, my budget's really tight. I can't afford it. So my open classes are always there, you know, and I always want to work with them. So,
It's
um,
interesting because I think a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to teach free stuff. I don't want to give away free classes. I don't do free trials, blah, blah, blah. But actually, it's a great way to connect. But people aren't going to want to pay you until they've tried something out. They've got some way of experiencing your classes. If you're doing it as an
and
open class anyway, it's a group. So what's one more
well,
student being added in?
yeah,
I
my
think there's a
open,
lot of potential there.
yeah. And the open class style that you can give, have you ever gone to like a bakery and you're not sure if the cherry pie is really good? Maybe they'll have a sample. So you get a sample. If you really like that apple pie, that cherry pie, that coffee cake, whatever it is, you're gonna buy the whole cake. So and you may not get the whole entire flavor, but you'll get an understanding of what it's all about. I sell the personality, the fun. I call it a recreational open class. I am not like PPT, learn this, learn this. We're literally we're playing games and the kids love it, and that's what they come for. And then I have parents that will message me when they first come. I always let them know. I said, just to give you a heads up, this is a recreational style class. I let them know that. So they go, is this how Teacher Grant is always teaching? I'm not really sure it's good for my son. So I let them know it's a recreational class. But it's like to get to know my personality. How do they react to you? How do they deal with you? And you can always limit how long you do your open class. And yes, I agree. I see chat's going on.
Should we go across the chat? Actually, I've been ignoring the chat. I was actually, while you were talking earlier, I was trying to quickly fix the email system because the email didn't send properly. So I resent that. So we're going to have some more people probably tuning in a few minutes late because the email got stuck. But anyway, let's go across the chat. We've got some people asking questions.
Yeah. I was looking. I don't know. I just see
Terence from Chiang Mai joining us.
Chiang Mai. Where's Chiang Mai? That's in China, right?
That's in Thailand, I believe.
Oh, Thailand.
Oh my gosh, it's like central Thailand, right?
From Thailand.
I haven't been to Thailand since I was like 10, but yeah. Thanks for joining us, Terence.
And I, as an American, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah. Let's just go through the chat questions, and then we'll jump back to
bring me back up what my thought was. The free class model. It may not be for all teachers. I'm with you. I agree with you. But what you do is you do not exclude them. Okay, I'll give your child a free class. No. Or what you can do, you give them a trial class, but you make them do a partial payment and you cut the class in half. And that's usually what I'll do. Is typically my classes are 45 minutes. If it's a one-on-one situation, I will charge them a portion of that and then just a half an hour get to know them. And because I'm such a space with time, I'll end up going longer because I'm really enjoying the conversation with the child. And I go, oh my gosh, we're 40 minutes in, and that happens. So you can give them a piece. Give them a piece.
So
So
how do you structure that class? Sorry, reining things back in a bit. Going back to that open class idea, the first class with new students, you're having it it's quite a large group from what I understand, you're doing recreational things. How do you structure it? Do you have a set sort of system in place? Do you have a sales pitch? Or
I am the most...
The method.
I should give a very professional-like answer, but I would be lying. I'm a very unorganized... I have a very unorganized, unorthodox structure when it comes to my open class. Because I'm sitting going, wait, which one do you guys want? You want Bamboozled? Do you want Quizlet? Do you want what's the other one they play? Block it. They always correct me. Anyways, those other, because they know those platforms are Kahoot, and they go, yeah, we want Kahoot. I'm like, okay, what do you guys want to have a quiz about? And I'm like searching at the same, but I'm keeping them talking, So, but I'm trying. But for myself, for my own discipline, I am trying to be a little more structured. For the love of God, don't watch if you ever see my lives and you want to replay them, don't skip past 20 minutes. Just otherwise it's going to make me look really bad.
So you do sort of games and activities and things?
Yeah, it's very game activity centric. I'm always doing art activity. I mean, the other day we did, I did Garfield. Oh, you can't really see it, but it's there.
Painting pictures, cool.
Yeah, I did and in case you guys are wondering what the YouTube platform I go to for the art activities, because it actually helps me draw better, is Art Kid Hub.
Okay.
And I didn't even finish it. One thing about me doing activity with them is I'm always trying to get them engaged, show me the pictures and stuff like that, but I never finished my own art activities.
They're doing like a creative kind of task, and maybe they're talking about it, describing their picture, saying the colors and things like that. So it's a bit of English learning, a bit of fun.
Yeah, okay. So what shape did they say? A triangle. Okay. How we're doing this? A loop, It depends. Usually with my one-on-one, I have a one-on-one. She really loves to draw. So, and she's young. So I gotta kind of make her happy and keep her going, like the Energizer Bunny. So I'll kind of I had a one-on-one last month, and I tried to do I used your phonics lesson. Worked really well. And for the life of me, at the beginning, I couldn't hear her. It was driving me crazy. I'm like, okay, is she just too shy? And it turned out that they had a really bad mic situation. Then she got this little, like, I showed you a picture. She had a little handheld. She loved it. I could hear her loud. And it just totally made me think that she wasn't engaged in my class. Now she was, and it worked really well. And so, yeah. So I think I went off topic a bit, but yeah, the group classes work really well. And I think you had mentioned, and this is probably something the chat is wondering, is why group classes? And
yeah, tell us a bit more, because sorry, I feel like we're jumping all over the place a little bit here. We talked a little bit about the marketing already, but we can come back to that maybe a bit later. If people got questions on the marketing, pop those in the chat. I'd love to learn more about the group classes. You talked about the open class, fun, recreational, creative type things. Why do you focus on groups in general, though? Because I know teachers get excited about that for scaling up, but you've been doing that from the beginning, right?
okay, yes. So in my experience, again, it depends on where your sector is, where your area parents are. A lot of parents have a tight budget, and that's why I come up with the group class concept, saying, well, I understand that $30 is too much one-on-one. And I know some strategies with some people are per child, $10 per child. I'm a bit nicer, and again, it's to each his own. I split the cost in a matter of speaking. So if it's a $30 class, if it's a $40 class, and there's 4 kids, everyone pays $10 or whatever it might be. Or if it's $20, everybody pays $5. Or you can structure it where they're paying a little, like maybe $6 each or something like that. So, unless you're really in a bind, then yeah, charge per each parent, whatever. But for me, I go, okay, well, how can I make it work for you? What's your budget? How much? How many classes do you want? What's the maximum amount of kids you want in the class? We want 4 in the class. Here's my budget. I go, okay, can I work with this? I calculate it. Yes, I can do it. Deal done. Or
you're kind of thinking from the total amount you want to earn per hour. This is the amount I want to earn per hour. This is how many students I need. This is the price the student wants to pay. Therefore, this is how many students I need to make that money work for the parents and for you.
Yes. We had a group of, it's kind of sad because we set at 6, and there was another student who about before the summertime started, really wanted to join Friday, but the class conflicted it. So we asked the parents again. They liked the cap at 6, even if the class was longer. They still wanted it at 6. But and another thing too is sometimes for me, I have to, instead of making people wait. Stop me if I'm going off topic, but I will start with a group of 3. I'll take a little loss, but I'm going to skill push on my marketing, talk to more parents, and go, we need 3 more children. Yes, we can start with 3. I'll lose a little bit, but I'm confident that I'll try to get 3 more by 2-3 weeks longer. Am I going to be broke? No. I'm fortunate.
So basically, you're saying that when you put together a class at the beginning, you don't necessarily have the whole group yet, but you've said, so the parents told you, I want to pay $10. You've thought, well, I need to earn, I don't know, $30 for that amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, let's make easier numbers for the maths. Let's
I'll give you
imagine
an
1 to
example.
60. Everyone wants to pay 30, but there's only 3 of them so far. You'd still let it start, and then you're going to find more students yourself to help bring it up to the amount you want to earn.
So if the goal is to get $30 per class,
yeah,
and you want, and they are agreeing to the terms that you will have a max of 6.
mm-hmm.
You will take 3. That means you'll only get 15 until however long it takes you to find those other students.
Yeah, so each kid's paying 5, but you've only got 3 of them to start with.
So that means you'll get 15 instead of the 30, right? Yeah. So either A, because I don't know if you agree with this statement or not, but parents don't like to wait.
Yeah.
If you tell them to wait and you're saying we need 3 more students, they're going to be looking elsewhere. So do you take a small loss and push for those other students, or do you wait, roll the dice, and hope they wait with you? And I kind of learned the hard way at the beginning. So we have 3. We gotta wait for 6. And then one person, I'm sorry, my kid will be outside in the class.
Or just lose the 3 you had in the first place.
How much am I willing to be okay with before I make them wait? And I think my number is about 3 out of the 6 Or if parents are like insistent on, we want to lock in at 4 students or 5 students, and take the amount that you want and divide it accordingly to those 4 or 5 students. So, and this has happened before, if it's in a rural area and parents are really in a bind, tell them, well, I can cut it again, but that means there's going to be 8 students or something of that matter. And to be honest, in my experience, I think 6 is the magic number max.
Yeah.
Unless parents really insist. If they really insist on 8, then they should already know I don't want to say the word drawback, sounds too negative. The repercussions down. It's like another word it's like a positive word for repercussions. But it's like saying they already know what's going to happen if 8 students come in and they all agree. Mm-hmm. Less talking time, maybe a little more chaotic, etc. So they're already aware of those terms.
So I think the key thing really to emphasize is that you're just communicating with the parents beforehand. Like before you put the group together, you first message some parents, see what they're looking for in a group class, what kind of price they're willing to pay, what kind of number of students are they happy to have in the class. Once you've got parents who are interested, even if it's not quite enough to fill the group, you set it up, you start teaching the class, and then you fill it up, hopefully relatively quickly once you've got the class actually going.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Communication is really key. Being personable is really key. You really have to, and it takes a lot of work, guys. It really does. Are the questions coming through to this chat? Because I don't see any questions yet.
It's a pause. I don't know whether it's no one's asking questions or whether that is our thing pausing. If anyone is currently listening in, and maybe you're just answering everything as we go along because you're talking so much. There's so many great ideas. So
keep your questions coming, so I keep talking and answering everything they're thinking of.
Yeah. I would like to actually maybe reel back a little bit to what we were talking about earlier on the marketing side.
Sure.
Because you've got some really great ideas there about how to set up the group class and get that going. But the big challenge I think a lot of teachers have with groups is like how to persuade parents to consider a group class in the first place. Do you specifically promote your groups? Like how do you advertise those?
It usually comes from word of mouth, or occasionally I will just make a Facebook post saying, hey, I got a class happening Monday and Wednesday from this time to this time. We have 3 spots open. Let me know if you're interested. And occasionally I'll try to push that. And then sometimes I'll get a hit or 2. But usually I'm very fortunate that I have a great group of parents that help me promote for me. Do you ask interested parents to bring on their friends? Of course, most definitely. And I've had parents do that. And then I'll ask questions without having to deal with the whole placement test thing.
Yeah.
And I'll say, is your daughter's friend about the same level? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay, let's have a try in that class and see how she does. And usually that's what I'll kind of base it off. It's kind of a hunch, not the most Sherlock Holmes way to go, but it goes with your gut feeling. I had a student go to a lower level trial class, and too easy for her.
Yeah.
She was a bit quiet, but my vibe, my gut was telling me, I think this one's way too easy for her, or like below her. And then the parent agreed, and then without even asking, because I was like, maybe it's a different topic, different day, but like, well, do you give that parent a second trial class? And she didn't hesitate. She paid for the rest of the tuition, because she saw how I was, and she, okay, half a level more, no problem, or whatever. I think it was like a 1B to like 2A or something like that. It was like a half a level.
Yeah, the key thing in terms of them promoting the group class, you're giving the opportunity for them to try it out.
One class.
You've got open classes, you've got one class of your normal paid classes for free.
Yeah. So one class I tell them to pay, and if you guys are wondering how I get paid, I live in Vietnam. I am kind of off the record, but I was still able to get a bank account, and I'm fortunate that the parents are able to pay me. Before I was in Vietnam, I was, again, fortunate. I feel like I'm just fortunate with everything. I had a parent that's I'll collect the money. And before you guys go, wait, hold on. She didn't ask for any fund, any percentage, any funds, nothing. Not can my kid join for free. She just knows what I've done in the past 3 years prior to like what everything I've built up has led to her doing this out of the kindness of her heart, not asking for anything back. And almost everyone I tell this to goes, wait, she's taking money from you. Like, they be careful, this whole warning stuff. It's like, I know what I'm doing. Just
I feel like I'm one of those people who be like, no, don't let anyone else do the finances. But I think, like you say, it's about who you trust, perhaps, and finding a method that works for you.
It's reputation. It's building your rapport and reputation. And when people know who you are, I see a lot of super teacher questions or comments.
Ivy's got lots of questions, which is fantastic.
Okay, so I'll pause on the questionnaire here. So what curriculum do I use? I use Reach Higher. I used the Reach Higher curriculum. I cheated. I asked ChatGPT for us, Katie, if it was a. I mean, this is.
I know we had a lot of conversation about Reach Higher versus Age Academy.
ChatGPT did say that it is a curriculum that could be used for ESL students outside too. Now that I agree with you, there's some parts of it. So Reach Higher is a catch-22 for me. I like some of it. Some of it's like the PPTs were like pre-created by like a different online school. So I got that from I forget who the lady is, but I got those resources there, and I use the PPTs there. And then I do a little bit of Katie's curriculum, the Bridge Academy, which works really good for my students. And for a one-on-one I have, it might not be the most orthodox method, but she chooses the topic and we just kind of freestyle. Again, it doesn't sound like a professional teacher saying, okay, hey, Bobby, what do you want to talk about? Oh, you want to talk about traveling in the mountains. All right, cool. And I'm like, all right, take off, lead us off. And they go, what do you think about the mountains? Oh, it's very beautiful. It's like, what would you do on a 5-day hike? I'm just making up, just if you have an advanced student and you're noticing that they're kind of like, kind of like faceless, make them be part of the class. My motto, I'll come back to you, Veronica, I promise.
Yeah. So keep going.
Are you Veronica I know? No, you're not. Never mind. You look like my Veronica friend. Anyways, so depending, I tell them, this class is for you. This is not my class. This is not your parents' class. This is your class. What do you want to learn? How do you want to learn it? Etc. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I was agreeing with you here, which is fantastic. I think you're right. Listen to your students' interests and adapt around that is also really important.
Yeah, because happy kids make happy parents pay you. So you have to find a happy medium, especially if they're getting. I see your focus in your children.
So I want to come back to what Veronica was asking here. Sorry, it's quite long. You might have to look across at the other chat to see it doesn't fit on the screen. She's asking, do you follow a national curriculum? Or are the private students just taking English lessons for their own interests?
Is Reach Higher
in Argentina?
Curriculum? I don't know.
No, I don't believe so.
I think it's just my own style. I'll take a curriculum and I'll make it my own. So I'm not going by what the standards say. My goal is to give them practical classes that will keep them going, that will make them interested to come back for the next class. I have a funny short. It's not. I don't know where it is now, but you look at my shorts on my YouTube and I have a title, The Children Don't Want the Class to End. It was literally at the end of class. I'm trying to get rid of them. No, it sounds mean when I say that, but I'm trying to end the class. I go, it's time to go. It's like, no, we don't want the class to end. But I was like, it's 9:30. It's like, we don't sleep. I said, but I need to sleep. Can I sleep? No, you can't sleep. And it was just that just kind of woke me going, wow, they really like this class. A lot of parents go, no, the kids don't want to go to class. The parents, no, it's the opposite. The kids want to go. So
I think Heather's saying the same kind of thing here. She says students are stuck around for years because they love the classes. I think that is a really important thing.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm looking. I want to make sure I'm going through the chats. I don't want to
I think I've got a question here.
Did I miss anything from Super Teacher here?
I've just got lots of great questions. Some of these we've got to already. She's asked about the class cancellations. Let's come back to what we were talking before about the group classes, I guess. How do you manage this? Because I can see that being chaotic in terms of organization of groups.
So class cancellations, nothing technically is in writing. However, I do tell the parents, and a lot of times they don't ask to get credits or anything like that, which I'm fortunate again. But if it does come to it and they do ask, I'm careful with my wording. I say, okay, the tuition is from the beginning of August till the end of October. I don't say how many classes. I do say how many classes it ends up being with it when I give them a tuition quote. And usually, and one parent's like, I don't care what class he makes up. I just want him to have the English environment. He's like in the book 4 class, and he joined the book 2 class just so he can hear the English environment and he can be a part of it. Funny enough, he would be kind of stumped on a book 2 question. I go, wait, what's going on, dude? Like, you're in the book 4 class. And I'm asking.
So they sign up for a period of time, and they can take any classes with you, or is it a specific class?
Not necessarily. No. They're set to the schedule that the group that they're in. But in the case, okay, I'll give you an example. One student, and luckily enough, it was the same level, had internet issues, couldn't get on, it wasn't working, the camera wasn't working. I told Dad, I said, hey, Dad, just have her come to the next class. At the same level, she did great, and it's fine. And that's usually what I did. I could have not said anything, and it would have just counted as a class, but that's just who I am. It makes the class more lively and exciting, and So cancellations, I don't put anything on paper. My advice is, I think you've mentioned it, or Jillian's mentioned it, you record the class, send them the recording, or you offer an alternative time for them to join. Like if you have a max group of 5 students and you only have 3 in that class, and that kid can join, or on your own will. If, let's just say, for the sake of argument, your class is full, but that one child wasn't able to make up a class, and that's the only spot, tell the parents they're not going to complain. It's one class, and even the parent has told me he doesn't have to talk. I just want him to listen. You'll get that a lot too, maybe with the parents you have. Rescheduling, so I think I answered that.
You can't really reschedule the group. You're basically saying that they can, if you've got, say, the similar kind of class you run multiple times a week with different groups, they could just move to a different group for that week temporarily, perhaps.
Yes. I don't do it religiously, though. I don't do it religiously. I don't offer it all the time, but I don't remind them of that offer. I do offer it, but I don't it's like reminding everyone that the store is going to close. I don't do that. I don't remind them every single time. If they mention it, I go, okay. There was one incident where a parent was on a holiday. Okay, one-on-one. I want to go back to the one-on-one here. One-on-one cancellation. I have really good one-on-one parents that I don't want to jeopardize, and maybe you'll lecture me on this, a good rapport with them. Mm-hmm. So I let it be, but usually I try to, if you have one-on-one classes, guys, you need to communicate to the parent the day before. Make sure the class is a go, all right? And if it isn't a go, it's up to you. How much do you enjoy that? How much do you enjoy Johnny or Jenny in the class one-on-one? Because you don't want to, there's language barriers. You could write perfectly in Chinese or any language, but are you going to lose your car or your mortgage payment because they had to cancel 24 hours before, or even that morning? For me, not really. It's to each his own, so it's just, don't be that.
Being flexible. I think it's good to have a policy, so that if the parents do start taking advantage and cancelling way too much, you say, well, my policy is you have to do this. But if it's a one-off here and there, like the kid is ill, for example, I'm kind
one-off, yes.
Maybe I shouldn't say that, but as you say, it's better to be nice and keep the parent, because longer term, you're going to earn more from that than them getting really annoyed at you not accepting their cancellation or something, and then just stopping taking classes entirely. So it's a balance.
If it's a one-off, I definitely. If they're taking advantage, or you're noticing they're taking advantage, then that's where you got to start to kind of go, sit back and go, wait, I love Jenny, but their mom keeps canceling. So you have to talk to Jenny's mom and say, hey, Jenny's mom, I notice that you have to keep canceling. Then what you can do, word it to where it's like, is there another class going on? Is everything going okay? Would it be better if we did it this day at this time? I have this schedule open for you. And then it doesn't sound like it's going to be a boring lecture from coming from you to the parent. You have to find the right wording.
Yeah.
I have there also yeah, so
All about communication. I think it's the key message. It's all about
yeah,
the communication.
communication. I saw that here. Anyone else have a blog?
I thought this is a really great question from Heather. And actually, she's going to ask this more generally. I think about a kind of marketing strategy, maybe something to think about, I guess, for groups as well. Like, it sounds like she says the students feel healthy competition to see what others are doing. I guess she's saying she's got like a blog and she posts stuff that the kids have been working on. Do you do that, like, maybe in your marketing? Do you share insights from your classes or
I
too much
don't
for
really show progress. I
you?
have videos that my students have done for me, like telling me who I am. I wish I need to get them to do that again. I have a student. I think I sent you one of the girls. That was 2 years ago. She's now 8. Growing up way too
Mm-hmm.
fast. Not fair. Um, but get your students to promote for you. Tell them, say, can you tell me, give me a video about your classes? And if they're well spoken enough, they'll do it. If you got the good ones that, especially at the level you teach, you got teenagers you teach, unless they're at a level where they're not quite well spoken, but most of them are going to be able to say, hey, teacher Katie, blah, 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 and you can just use it,
Yeah, and that's the great thing. I think kids love sharing what they've learned because it's like for them, they're like, "Oh, look, I achieved this cool thing. This is what I can talk about now, or this is a cool project I worked on. Can I give you my presentation about my travel adventures or something?" And
Yeah.
that's a great thing that you can then perhaps reshare on. Heather's saying she's got a blog. It could be on your social media. That kind of student story. I think is kind of the idea here. It's an
Yeah.
interesting idea, and I think you say that even if it's not a strategy you're yourself are focusing on, it's certainly
It
something
is
to
a
do
good
that.
one. I've heard of Class Dojo, but I don't know if Dojo does everything for online
I think
teachers.
more
It's
for
more
like
for
classroom I've never
school.
really played around with that. Heather's saying one kid wrote a story, now 2 more saw it doing it too. So it works so far. Oh, so she's using kind of inspiration to inspire her own
Nice,
students as well. Love that idea.
nice,
Fantastic. Post my students' first written story, turn it into a flip book, and
very
to share it with
cool.
others. Ah, awesome. I love
That's
that.
cool.
And that kind of comes back to Grant, like you said, in your open class, you have like the pictures and things. Sometimes you do like creative projects. It could be even
Oh yeah.
simple things like that can be shared.
To be honest, I've been ruffling my brains around, going, I don't want to keep doing the same thing. I need. Here's the thing, maybe to the audience and to you, I allow. And I know the answer to be restrict the levels or ages, but I allow everybody to join. Well, with the age limit, I always say, 6 to like 12, 13. I go, I have my son's 14. And I always tell them that I think the class might be not the best thing to say about me, but the class might be too boring for them because they might have a lot of younger kids in the class, but they still find themselves wanting to join. I had a 15-year-old at one time taking a break from final study and wanted to join my class.
Yeah, that's your open class that
Like,
you're referring to.
but for my open, so I've been trying to bustle my brain about how to kind of switch it up and not make it so game centric, because at the end of the day, you do still want to sell a little bit of educational aspect of your open class. Whether your group class interaction,
Right, it links to what you're saying. Yeah.
how do you manage a group class interaction? I try to this is where I gotta work on this part on myself, is getting them to talk to each other. They're fine talking to me, they're fine answering me, but they don't talk to each other as often as I wish they would. And that's where I'm trying, because you've seen some of my videos. I'm guilty of it. I know you guys are guilty of it, maybe, unless you guys are perfect, but I sometimes overtalk. Sometimes instead of it being 80-20, 80 kid, 20 them, 80 kid, 20 me, it ends up being the opposite sometimes, depending on what it is. And I shared some stuff with Katie, and she's like, "Yeah, Grant, you're talking too much." She wasn't that blunt. I'm
I was polite.
but yeah. So
I think it's a challenge. The reason I pulled up this question was kind of linking to what you were talking about. So I kind of interrupted you in the middle of it. But what you're talking about having like kind of mix things up a bit your classes, but also balancing like students of different levels or different ages and things in the same class. Personally, I do a lot of like debating kind of focus classes, and everyone's got an opinion on things. As long as you pick topics that are broadly relatable to that target audience, everyone's going to have an opinion to share, and they love talking about their opinions and arguing about why they have that opinion and comparing it to other people's opinions, and that can be a great way to get kind of interaction going. I don't know how it works for you, because you do more games to focus stuff, you said, in some of your classes, Grant.
Actually, this question made me think. I have I don't know if it's been named before, but I call, I'm sure you guys are familiar with what an English corner is, right? So I developed my own name of it. I kind of took that name and I called it the Children's English Corner. So questions that are catered to children, because if you ever, unless I'm wrong, a typical English corner, you'll have low-level adults to B2 adults, whatever, you'll have a mixed level of adults. Some that will just, they don't know what anything is. And then the B2s articulate everything. So I did this strategy in June. It worked and didn't work because I had multi-levels. They were aware of this. And they also had a very cheap tuition. So now I have the same style. And I was talking to a parent, got feedback from them, which I love. I always ask parents for feedback. Get feedback from them. And so I took the feedback. All right, this guy is high. The kid is like, what was he, 12? He's 12. He's like, he speaks a lot. Not like over speaking like when he's not supposed to, but he can convey a lot of information for an answer. Whereas another student is kind of shy, reserved, but given the right style of the question, they can still give their level answer. And the topic was, Crush Me Rainbow. Oh, favorite place. It was favorite place. So that's such a broad. Now, it wasn't just what is your favorite place. It's what makes a place special. And then I came up with questions, or I had help with questions to guide them. And the way the questions are structured, it's enough for a high-level student to be able to say more and a low-level student to say enough. So if you have a mixed level, depending on what kind of class you have, if it's not a curriculum style, this is like a special evening class for them. And they're paying. It's not a free thing. But you can find a happy medium. You can say what makes a place special, and I can say a place special where my family can go. Done. And an advanced learner can say a place that's special is where I can relax, I can not be stressed, they can give 4 or 5 answers to that. So yeah, I hope that didn't go too far off.
Right, so this is like really relevant. You're saying like picking up on things that your students are interested in, get them to talk about it from their own opinions and experiences and things and all of that as well. Definitely. We've got another question also from Ivy. Loads of great questions from Ivy. Thank you so much, Ivy. She's asking here about lesson feedback. So you mentioned you take on board feedback from your students and their parents, but do you provide feedback or homework or that kind of thing outside of class? Particularly, I know you do quite large groups.
I do, but sometimes I'll get so backed up, I'll forget to give the feedback of what happened in the class. Usually I'll try to do like a screenshot of what they did and what I would like them to review. But to be honest, I've done it so many times, only on a couple occasions they will do the homework. And I try to structure it in a way where kids don't think of it as homework. They think of it as a project. So give it a different name. I hate that word homework. I hated it as a kid. I hate it now. So I go, guys, this is your project. This is your baby. You can do anything you want. And I always say there's no wrong answer. I'll joke and say the only wrong answer is my favorite color is red. Like if you're asking them to do something completely different, I'll say there's no such thing as a wrong answer. And I'll say something silly like, except my name is Grant, and they'll laugh because it's not, has nothing to do with what the topic is, So I try to encourage projects.
Mm-hmm. And do you give feedback on that? Like, do they turn up to the class with the project next time and discuss it, or is it like they send it to you and you write feedback?
No, I always ask for videos, and I'll watch the videos, and I'll always give like the feedback through there's a text or whatever, I don't have like a special paper to give them or anything like that. But it's actually a really good idea, Ivy, to do that. Especially if I want to add some oomph to what I do, to continue to do what I do to make it even better. Because I'm always looking for improvement. And as much as Katie has praised me, there's so much work that I need to do for myself and my classes.
I think the same for all teachers. I'm always learning and improving on things for sure. I think there's no right way when it comes to homework and stuff. Like some kids I've taught just don't want homework at all. Others, they'll want homework and they want it properly marked. Like the parent will be like, I want you to have, 10-page workbook and I want marking, like detailed feedback and all this kind of stuff. In which case I'm like, well, I'm putting my price up for you, but sure. Otherwise, sometimes they want something that's more informal, kind of like your projects idea. But I've had students before where I've sent them to go away and come up with something, but turn up to the next class with it. Like the task is to go away and write a poem about your favorite place. Coming with that topic you had about special places, right? Write a poem about your favorite place, and next class turn up with it, read your poem, and we'll talk about it.
I'm gonna steal that idea. They have class next Tuesday. I'm gonna ask them to do that.
And that for me is like low prep. I don't have to do anything for that. What I had to plan is what's the project: poem, presentation, video, or creative task, or artwork. Like I have a kind of list of what kind of projects it could be. Then all I have to do is say, your task this time is write a poem. That's the planning done. And then feedback is in the next class, so nothing outside of class time. So I'm rambling.
There was a lesson. I've seen you so many clips and stuff, but there was a lesson I did from your curriculum, and you seem surprised. I mean, you can read text anyway. The way you responded to when I asked them for a video. I forget what was the lesson. I had to look in our history, but there was a video I sent based on your lesson, and I asked them to answer the questions. I think it was like the second part of the set of questions, not the intro, like what did you eat, what did you do today. It was like a lesson, and it was like something about that lesson. And I asked them, can you answer those questions? I think they answered, and it was younger one too, I think. Anyways, and I call it projects. They love doing videos. If I've learned anything, kids love videos. So make video projects for them and call them projects. Curse homework, man.
I love that. It's weird because I find that teenagers hate videos. Maybe it's just my students hate videos. But like the idea of being on video, maybe it's because you get to that nervous teenage stage where like your spots are breaking out or something, you don't want to be on video. I don't know. But some of them get really nervous of videoing themselves giving a presentation, for example. They're fine turning up in class, but they get nervous of that for homework. Maybe they overthink the video or something too much.
Yeah, that is true. I don't really have a lot of older students. The one student that's really good, I've asked her to she doesn't do them. But I mean, I don't think, this is bad for me to say, I don't know what she needs to do. Like, I don't know how to challenge her sometimes. You've seen how articulate she is. I joke and say, I don't think she needs me, but I would never tell her dad. But like sometimes I think her father just really wants that interaction with that teacher, regardless of what we're learning. At first, we're going to do a book. And then I literally went to her and I said, hey, what do you think of this? And I was like, would you like to just come up with your own topic? It's like, yeah, that would be very nice. And just the way you would have thought she's like 14, 15. She's 12. Like, just surprises me.
There's always those kids who like stand out sometimes. Scary.
Yeah. I see more questions from Ivy. Top three. Can you put those on there? Top three tips for someone just starting to teach in small groups. What to focus on or avoid. Oh gosh, Katie knows how much I.
We keep this short. 1, 2, 3. What are 3 tips?
Okay, so I guess these are tips for myself. Is have a plan at the very beginning. Know what you got to have set up. So have that PPT or that lesson ready, like you can hit screen share and get to it. Manage the speaking time. Make sure they have enough time. Don't over speak when they're paused. Give an additional 10 to 15 seconds more. And it's helped me because I got some feedback when I was doing it, and I was like, wait, because after I waited like 15 more seconds, oh, blah, 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 blah. And then they actually conveyed what they want to say. So make sure that you're giving everyone an applicable amount of time to speak. Make sure that you review the material ahead of time. Make sure that if they're on time, it's okay. Just start when you can start. Or if you feel like the lesson you have planned, if you can wait 5 minutes more, wait 5 minutes more. It's not going to make or break the class. What else? I don't know how many tips I mentioned. One, two.
I've always said have a curriculum or like a thing, like slides or something to work from. Academy, obviously wonderful.
Manage your talking time. Your talking time, 80-20. I think that's what the standard is when I learned 80-20.
Yeah.
And I
If I was to
guess
add to that, I would say make sure the students take turns with answering questions as well, because I've sometimes
there
had
you
a
go.
group class where one kid talks non-stop, and then there's another kid sat there quietly waiting their turn. It's like, make sure you've mastered the
And
art of shutting one of them up and got the hang of the mute button and the timekeeping. I found it useful to put actually a timer on the screen. When I've had students say that, I'll pull up a timer on the screen and say, okay, Greg, you're talking too much. You've got 2 minutes to answer the question. Then it's Sally's turn.
yeah,
That
that might be
helps.
good for teenagers, for little kids. I don't know. It might be
Yeah,
intimidating to them to see a timer.
maybe. Yeah.
But I was gonna say is oh, I lost my train of thought. I had a good one. Maybe
Sorry,
probably not good enough, I guess.
interrupted.
Um, I was gonna say like oh yeah, you're talking about the talking time. Don't focus just on one question. And this I've kind of tested the grounds there. Like you don't need to ask every single child what they had for dinner. If there's two questions, dinner or what did you learn today, split it up, switch it up. You don't need to ask all 6 children what they had for dinner. There's 3 questions, split them up into 2 each, and I've
Yeah.
done that. It's gone a lot more smoother, unless they call you out and say, "Hey, teacher, I didn't get to answer that question."
I've
And then,
done
of
it
course,
before. Like sometimes they're on the screen, so they've got
huh?
this. If you've got like slides which have got questions already set on them, like you say, take them turns through the questions. And I always said if you don't have the opportunity to answer it live, you can pop your answer in the chat instead. And then the ones who've got really really want to share what they had for lunch can put in the chat what they had for lunch, even if
Yeah,
they didn't actually get to say it aloud themselves.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then, what to focus on to avoid doing time
This
waster?
one.
How do you manage to stay relaxed
I'm
and
gonna
up
pick
for?
this one. How do you not like burn out from teaching and managing groups?
I don't know. I'm crazy.
How many groups do you have running at a time?
Actually, they ask me why my hair is why my hair is gray. I really should be doing that. I tell the kids because you guys drive me crazy, and they laugh. And they know I love them. But I just I just keep my head up. I try not to be. I try not to think of negativity. I just try to focus on positivity, and just keep myself going no matter what. And when I first got here in January, I thought it was SOL. Like hopefully if we can know those out. Anyways, and I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to do this? Like, you just really I went in the deep end. That's basically what I did. I'm a kid who doesn't know how to swim, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to jump on the dive," you know, and that's basically what I did, and I was able to get off, and now here I am. So I just positivity, live life to the fullest. Don't give up on what you want to do. Don't let anybody get in your way. And I have not stressed it enough. You have to put in the effort. Nobody is going to hold your hand unless you're paying somebody to literally hold your hand. And honestly, I don't even want to get paid to hold somebody's hand unless it's like maybe 2,000. So if you want me to hold your hand, send me $2,000 and I'll hold your hand.
Yeah.
But seriously, guys, those who want their hands held are never going to accomplish anything in life. You have to put in the effort. And that's what comes before even thinking about those group classes and those one-on-ones and getting into the game. If there's anyone here in the chat that is just getting started, who has not had the experience that Katie, myself, Ivy, and amongst others that may or may not had, and I don't want to put you guys on the spot. I don't know who is just literally getting started, but I believe the ones I'm looking at, Heather, Ivy, have been in the game, right? I don't know who Heather is. I'm sorry.
If you're
I
new,
think
pop it in the chat. Tell us if you're brand new and tuning in. It's always good to know if
oh,
there's any complete
okay.
newbies. But
The
I
way
think
she's
most people here
conveying
have been here
things,
a while.
the way that she's actually asked questions makes me think that
Yes.
this is not her first parade.
No, I don't think so.
Those who are just getting started, right? You have to know what the hell you're doing, to put it bluntly. If you don't, you need to start researching YouTube videos online, look up strategies. If you are still at a loss and go, oh, I don't have students, find students for free. Say, hey, let me teach your kid for free. Okay? All I want back from you is feedback. Give them a month. If you're in the game, that's what I would suggest. I don't know if that's the most orthodox way to go, but if it means that you have to get your foot in the door, And I mean, this is if you want to stay away from companies. Otherwise, go to italki and get paid $5 for a class or something. But if you want to show your true value, go and find parents who are in need. Their income is at a low. Their budget's very low. They're in the villages or whatever. Say, hey, I'll teach your kid for free. Don't worry. I got you. Or do
There
a
are actually
little.
some organisations out there that do volunteering online as well, so it might be worth looking into. I know I can't remember the names of the ones off the top of my head, but if you research it, there's quite a few online volunteering organisations where they organise the stuff for you. So they'll help find the students and they will help structure things. They might even provide materials and resources and things. But for you as a new teacher, it's a good way to get some experience with online teaching in a voluntary capacity without the pressure of, I need to charge this much, I need to earn this much money, that kind of thing. Or as you say, work for a company for a short period of time, get the experience, and then go for it.
And I was going to say, it's better than working for a company that wants to pay you $5 an hour. I always
charge the kids
tell
50.
them,
Yeah.
tell them, I'll teach them for free, just as long as they don't go to your company. Like, that's just my in principle matter of it. Like, in principle, like, if you see these people who are wanting to pay you $5, I think you'll gain more positivity giving a charitable class than getting paid what you are worth more than, And I know it's kind of contradicts what I'm saying, but I feel like doing it for free for a company that you feel will do the right thing, or if you come across some families that are in a rural or village area, teach them for free, and tell them, and all I want in return is send me a video of how much your child loves me or whatever, or have your kid do it, have the parents do it in their native tongue. It doesn't, I always say, they go, but I don't know English. I say, write it in Chinese. It's okay. Don't worry.
And it's actually better.
Yes, I always tell the
better to have
parents.
it in their language, because then the people, when you share it, can understand it. I feel like the funniest thing, I keep seeing teachers sometimes, they're posting like a testimonial, and they'll post a testimonial on their Facebook or something. It'll be written down, like a testimonial, and you can see that it's been Google translated, because it'll be written in English, and it'll be that slightly dodgy English. You can tell it's like a Google translation. And I'm sitting there thinking, why don't you just put the original? Because the people reading this, your target audience, are not native speakers. They'd much rather read it in the language it was written in, because they understand that language directly. Yeah, and if you want to, you can put subtitles on videos and things. But I think
exactly
it's better in their language sometimes.
I always tell the parents, I say, you can write it in Vietnamese. I always say beautiful. I always add adjectives to make it more. And this does not mean like being like a kiss ass or anything. But I tell them, use your beautiful language. Use your beautiful Chinese language to convey everything you want to say. Use your beautiful language in Vietnamese to convey, because in your native tongue, it's going to come out more dynamic, more personable than trying to think in your head. Because there's a lot of parents that can write in English, but I tell them, I said, your English is great. Like, you can write perfectly in English, but I want you to really put your heart and soul and write something from your heart in Vietnamese.
Yeah, and that way, when you share it, it's much more authentic, and it can be easily understood by others.
Yeah. I always try to get parent, but I don't know what it is, and I don't. If I'm going too far off topic, stop me. But the parents always want to say something in English. So, no, I don't want the video in English, because the audience speaks Vietnamese. They don't speak English. So I kind of chuckle with them, going, they don't know what's being said in English. So that's why I think I sent you a video of the girl. I told her to write, and she did it in Vietnamese and in English. She said it in English, and then she did it in Vietnamese. And yeah. So encourage that. Our native in English, yes, it might get you a few hits, but in their language, it's going to be more respectful to their culture, to their language.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I've talked too much. I see like
We're coming up to an hour, so let's wrap things up with a few last questions. Any last burning questions? Do pop those in the chat. And Grant, you shared so many great insights, so thank you for that.
I used to teach adults
about, I think it's about internet issues. Do you have any issues with internet in Vietnam?
Okay, internet issues. So there's been a couple occasions where the weather has been the devil, so to speak. But for me, never. I've never had issues. I have fast speed. I just paid for another 6 months. One time the power went out, and that was it. I just had to tell the kids, had to call them on my phone saying, "Sorry guys, I have no power. Look, there's no lights. You guys are free." They were kind of like, "What?" Like,
I think as a teacher, it's good having backups, right, as well. Like, I've always got a good phone plan as well as my Wi-Fi, just in case the Wi-Fi goes. I can just switch across to mobile data.
I'm in the dark. Like,
that's a bit even more difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm on a desktop too. I mean, technically, I could have got my laptop, ran down to the coffee shop, but you know what? You already know what I'm saying.
But for students, though, I think Ivy's kind of referring here to students. Do your students, do they join on like phones and other devices sometimes as well, or are they always on
Sometimes I've had kids that are coming home and they're just listening, and the principal, I'm like, I really wish they'd be at home, but you really can't. I mean, you only get to say so much. The parents know what's going on. The kids are on the phone. They're coming back from dinner. They're coming back late. They're going to solve a class on the phone. Maybe they're not as focused, but what can you do? You can't really do anything. And I haven't had complaints where my kid didn't really get to speak much. And so, well, it's because he was out for dinner and eating. And I mean, and that's never happened.
I've had some students like that who they'll join a class and they'll be, I had one join in the middle of what looked like some kind of birthday party. I'd be there, be like, why did you turn up? Like, if it's your birthday, take the day off.
It was his birthday, really?
I couldn't quite figure out if it's his birthday or it's someone else's birthday. I didn't quite get. The kid was having like major internet issues as well, but there was like loud music and everyone was wearing birthday hats and there was cake going on and there was like disco party in the background, and I'm there being like, what are you doing? It was a group. So
you're gonna call me a liar, but that literally just happened in one of my group classes. One child joined a little bit late. There was a party going on. And they kept invading the room. She's a bit younger, like maybe 8, 9. How was it? 8, 9, 7? I can't remember. She's younger. And so she's trying to hear me, trying to answer. And then the kids go, "Hi." I'm like, "Hello, guys." And then like trying to like, oh, that's another thing too. I promise I'm going to get to a point here. Made me think of something. Anytime your student has a friend over, talk to their friend. Because that is, you've done it before. Because if you talk to their friend and you acknowledge them, they're going to go, "Mom, I like this teacher." And then, voila, you got another classmate.
I've had that happen. I've had that where a student has had their friend in the class. And like, I know it's interesting because I used to teach a lot with a company.
Not on the side,
at the side. I used to teach with a company called OutSchool a lot, and OutSchool had this policy where you couldn't have people on camera who weren't like meant to be in the class, and they were really strict on that, which I always thought was ridiculous because I've had it before where I've had students sat there and their friend is sort of sat in the background, or maybe they're joining a little bit, but they're not really in the class. They're just like interested in what their friend is doing, and I'll say, "Oh, hi, who are you? Tell me a bit about you. Are you interested in this topic too? What do you know? Blah blah blah." Try and engage them a little bit, and then a week later, boom, new student turns up in my class.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So I'm glad I don't know how I thought about that. That's a great strategy, guys. So like, if you don't ever exclude them. Don't, okay, you got a friend. I'm not gonna ignore your friend. I'm gonna talk to you. But if they're like kind of looking at you, going, and they're kind of like, "I see you. What's your name?" And then you they talk, and then their mom's listening to the background as they're talking to their mom, and they go, "Oh, who is this? Oh, this is my daughter's teacher. He teaches English. Oh. Does he have any classes? Oh, I can ask him," and then voila. So even though it's kind of been frowned upon with other companies going, "No, don't like only one student, one class," it will be a benefit. It will come into benefit for you. What other questions? I love answering questions
here from Veronica. Really great question. Veronica's just getting started. Wants to get started teaching one-on-one students online. She's a bit nervous, I think, about teaching with groups. They sound a bit challenging. So what are your recommendations for someone who's just getting started? I know we talked a bit already, kind of with some of that.
So do you have a golden parent, Veronica?
I'm guessing
Veronica, you really resemble somebody I know. I was looking at the photo. Are you the Veronica I know? Please tell me. I'm not going crazy. Because you resemble, you're her twin. Unless I'm going crazy. I'm looking, anyways. But in answer to your question, working so one-on-one teaching. So you have to have a golden parent. So if you have a golden parent, you got to start with that, or find one that you're going to teach for free.
I would say
Unless
use your network. Like, how did you find your
yeah.
first student, Grant?
Huh?
Your very first student.
My very first student, and I had another, I think I branched, and a lot of the networking came from working at the kindergarten. I was talking to Katie about this the other day, and I think a lot of teachers that used to teach in China have a higher advantage because they've built in-person networks. If you're outside and you've built some online connections, maybe you've talked to parents or coworkers or whatever, you can of course reach out to them and say, hey, by the way, I know you used to work at this school. Do you ever keep in touch with any of the parents? Because maybe if you're not, okay, she's saying we have a twin somewhere. Okay, yeah. Okay, then sorry about the whole excitement there. We have a twin somewhere.
So we see like a really tiny profile picture of people here on the
yeah,
screen,
it is.
so
Yeah. Anyways, okay, so back to what I was saying. So I think having a golden parent is going to be what will seal the deal. If you don't have a golden parent, then work on who you have networked with. If you have not really networked with anybody, then as Katie mentioned, there's some online schools that you may be able to get in touch with. Otherwise, what was it? I learned one thing from Jess's course where you can type in a keyword like looking for a teacher or something like that. And it's hard to say how I found the groups where the kids are posting videos and stuff. I've just been invited to them without kind of understanding what I was finding myself in. But you could easily do like parents and children learning English, or moms and kids, or something like that. You can look up groups like that, and maybe it will be a group where you see children posting videos of whatever it is, and then just comment, leave a legit comment, genuine comment. Wow, your son's really good. I love the way he told the story about the gingerbread man. He had a lot of emotion, whatever it is you're trying to say. So if you're brand new and you have a small network, then you may just need to go the freebie route, or just do a quick search of looking for an English teacher. If you want to stay out of the online school market and you want to strictly stick to being individually one-on-one.
Start with the network is the key thing I would also say. Like for me, my very first student came from a recommendation from a teacher who had previously volunteered in person in their class. And she referred me 2 or 3 students probably within a year or so. And then many of those referred me even more students. My second student came from a referral from the first student. So actually the whole first year I did of some tutoring, those students all came through networks and personal connections. This was way back. This was, I don't say it's before, the internet did exist, obviously, but it's before I was really actively sharing on social media much. I wasn't involved in social media. I wasn't even teaching online with companies at that point. So build on your network. That's definitely a really powerful way of connecting with your first students. And as you're saying, like going into community focused groups on Facebook, like it doesn't have to be an English focused group either. It could be a group for like expat families in New York, maybe. Like, I don't know, French expats in New York. So it's the people who moved there, probably with their kids, who are now living in an English speaking country. They need to learn English because their kids are moved to an English medium school, but it's some community who've moved here from abroad. Those could be great community groups to try and get involved more in, and sharing useful advice and suggestions, becoming a nice friendly face in that community, which then can result in people reaching out to you about classes. There's other ways of doing it. It doesn't have to be strictly like social media marketing kind of strategies. And
I see 2 other questions from not question, but comment from Mima Van. Thank you. Interesting. Learned a lot. Thank you for that. And then
I think this might be a nickname.
So aside from word of mouth to get students in Vietnam is social media. They use Facebook. Facebook, yes. Facebook is definitely go. Believe it or not, there are Chinese families that do use Facebook. It's not religiously used.
Very popular.
But it's still used. Parents openly tell me they got a VPN. So,
So in terms of
Uh,
Vietnam, though, do you have like a Facebook business page? Do you just use your personal profile? Did your owner
I
set up a group?
kind of wish my Facebook profile was a business page because I have over 1,000 people that are following me, and I wanted to use the chatbot method. But I've
Uh,
actually, this may be a part two thing. I don't want to drag on you too
okay.
long, but like, because I like the idea of like having automatic answers, but at the same time, I like being personable with them. Anytime a parent message a friend requests me, I do see if there's mutual acquaintances. If there are a significant amount of mutual people, and I notice that they're all the people I know, I'll add them immediately without question. I add almost everybody. There's one person that just recently sent me a friend request, no mutual friends, but Vietnamese. I don't know who the person is yet. So I kind of said, hi, I'm teacher Grant, blah, blah, blah. And occasionally it's not the most orthodox way to go, but if you see some profiles that have like 20 mutual friends or 30 mutual friends and they have not friended you, I'll add them. I know, again, not the most orthodox, genuine, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, there's a word I'm looking for. I can't think of it. Anyway, it's not the most nice way to go, but you can always add them and they add you back. Oh, thank you so much for adding me. I notice we have so many parents connected together. You wouldn't happen to have a child, right? Or have you has your child? Or what happens is usually a lot of the parents are in the Zala group. I just have not connected with them in Facebook. I go, has your child? And this is like implying if their child has already been to your class, your open class. Has your child been to my open class? Because you're assuming they have. And then, no, they haven't. What is this about? I said, well, I have an open class every Saturday, not 8 o'clock. It's free. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. I forget what I say. But I basically tell them it's free. There's no obligation. And then, of course, if you're also interested in my VIP classes, they can do this. Here's my schedule. Here's my group to join for the open class. Here's my Zalo ID. And you give them all to them. Can you tell me about your child? If they do positively answer back, yes, I have this child. He's 10 years old. He's learning Acubus, or he's learning flyers or movers. I'm saying 10 years old. I don't know what they learn. Flyers, movers, anyways. And then you kind of go, oh well, I don't teach the flyers book or the movers book, but I have this curriculum, and this would be the level that they would be suitable for if that's what they're studying now. Do you have any spots available? Yes, I do. This time, this time, and this time. Oh, he has classes at that time. Can you tell me when your son is available? Oh, he's available Saturdays at 7:30.
So it's really all about kind of messaging and using that network and building on the network. The people who reach out to them, just authentically messaging with you when they reach out to you, and sort of mentioning what you're doing, but in a friendly way. Is kind of what you're saying.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to be as personable as possible. You want to, you are being a salesperson, but you have to find you have to have the caring factor. You
Yeah.
really do have to sincerely care. You know, if you're about now, again, I know there's some strategies where in China that parents will pay $30 each or whatever, $50 for a class, depending. And that's another thing too, is those who are like, oh, I'm never going to get $50. And I'll quote what Jess said. It's not your class, it's your course. What is it that you're selling? Why? And I ask the group, I don't know if anyone's going to answer, but how much are you worth? Are you only worth $5 that the company says you are? Or are you worth $30? Are you worth $50? And why are you worth $50? Well, because I have a foolproof curriculum that takes 6 months, and they're going to be going through these stages, and it's going to help them succeed for A, B, C, and D. If you're mediocre or you don't want to go that far, it's like, well, I'm worth 20. I have small groups. They engage. It's practical English. They learn from it. They have fun with it. It does help them in the future, but it's not going to help them excel for IELTS or the SATs or whatever.
I feel it's about having some kind of, so as far as the higher rates, it's about having a very specific goal and having a program that really focuses on getting your students to achieve that specific goal as quickly and as efficiently as possible is kind of the approach people take there. Like the value comes from what the kid or the student can achieve.
Yeah, it's
That goal. In
you
my
know
case, it's focusing on like study abroad kind of market. So once they've achieved their dream of studying abroad, well, if you have a degree then from a well-known international university, that's going to have a massive impact on their future career. So they can see the value because of how it's going to help them achieve something that has
yeah.
financial
So
value.
it's really, what is it
Yeah.
you're going to bring to the table? What makes you unique? What makes you different? What sets you aside from everybody else? I think what sets me aside from a lot of people, and this is not dissing anybody whatsoever, is I feel from other people I've talked to that I become more personable with them. Like I literally went to Hanoi. Okay, I spent 6 million dong, not $1,000,000, but 6 million dong. I don't know what that was. What that is, confirm it later. I think maybe 200 is what it came up to, which is not that bad. But still, because I'm in Vietnam, like, that's expensive. But I spent 6 million dong to fly out to a city where I can network and meet up with other students I've taught online. I did this last summer. Did that out of my own pocket. Didn't ask them for anything in return. I did actually. I'm very blessed. The parents were very heartwarming. They didn't let me pay for anything really. They booked my Grab. They treated me to dinner and lunch, and the coffee and stuff. But in return, I did an awful lot. Like I was with them in the morning and in the afternoon. I mean, I'm not saying like I deserved it. I wasn't expecting it, but they can see the value that I gave them, and that's what they were able to give back, which I'm forever grateful for. So you have to find your unique rhythm. Now, a lot of you guys have kids, married, drama, whatever. I I have no life. So I'm able to do a lot more than what some of you guys might be able to do. So I'm fortunate enough that I can say, hey, I'm going to Hanoi. Let's meet up. Let's explore. I got tons of pictures. I don't know if and honestly, if you guys want to follow me on Facebook, I don't know what my Facebook is.
I know I put a link in the chat, in the description to your YouTube, and I think you got a video on your YouTube about this.
Yeah, the YouTube. You go to my YouTube. I post videos there, and I'll give you guys my and I mean I make everything. Well, that's another thing I probably shouldn't do, but I do it anyways. I make everything public. All my posts are public. Like I shared a bunch of pictures of me in Hanoi. So if you look up Teacher Grant 007, you guys should be able to see pictures I have in Hanoi. So Teacher Grant 007, I take pictures so you can see the interactions, and they're so happy. So if you have the opportunity, if you are abroad in China, in Vietnam, in Thailand, in South Korea, take the opportunity to go, hey, I'm in Vietnam. I've taught these families. Maybe they'd love to meet up, find a happy medium area, to meet up with them. And they're going to appreciate you more. You're going to meet other friends of their family. They're going to want you to teach online. And then you're going to be able to build more from that. Okay.
Yeah, I've definitely had meeting up with students in person is a great way. I mean, firstly, it just helps them kind of feel that you really value them, but it also can be a great way to get referrals.
And life experience too. Like definitely. Great tips. Appreciate.
We've got to most of the questions. Should we wrap things up here? I'm very aware of your time, Grant.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a night owl. I don't sleep. But yeah, if there's no other questions, then I'm okay to we can whatever you want, Katie.
Yeah, well,
like I said, I belong to you till you kick me out.
I feel like we've learned so much from this, Grant. In particular, that idea of a community-focused marketing approach. I know before we joined today, we were messaging earlier, talking about sort of building on what you have, as in your network, your relationships, the countries you've lived in previously, or where you've taught previously, or your connections, using that to build a community, and then using that for your marketing kind of strategy. And you have some really great tips as well on the group classes and things. I know everyone's going to steal lots of those ideas, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So should we end just saying, like, what if people want to reach out to you, Grant, or they want to check out your YouTube and stuff? The link for your YouTube is in the description, by the way. So Grant's YouTube is in the description. Check out his videos and things. Anything you want to add?
I was gonna say, yeah, but as far as like personally reaching out for me to like, and I don't want to diss him, but like the hand, to hold the hand.
Yeah, no hand holders.
I
Thank
think
you.
everything in the video that we discussed, I think even YouTube might automatically put chapters in there. But
Yeah,
watch the video again. That's at the beginning. If you have any questions, please watch the video from the beginning to the end. But honestly, if there are any questions that have not been addressed in this video, put them in her YouTube, or I think it's
yeah.
on
Put them
my
in the
YouTube.
questions in the comments, right? It's probably good.
Yeah, in the comments. I'll answer in the comments. I don't mind. Like, I don't mind answering comments, but honestly, I think everyone in this
annoying
chat is
messages
actually going
saying,
to be worth
"Give me
messaging.
students." Yeah, none of those annoying messages sending
Yeah.
give me
So
students
just
or
don't
anything
be
like
one
that.
of those
No,
people that just say, "Hello, sir, can you help me?" Like, I could seriously, like, at
I
least
get this
if
all
you're
the
going
time.
to message me, give me some context of why I'm being messaged, not just hello and then nothing. But write them in the comments. Put them in the comments with Katie, or in the YouTube video with Katie, or I think it's been broadcast on my YouTube, maybe. I guess it has. And just ask questions there. I'll respond within the day. If I don't, then reach out and say, hey, you didn't respond to my message. And I'll message her. And Katie probably knows me like the back of her hand, so she'll probably answer on my behalf if she knows what I would say.
Quite a lot of
But
questions end up being kind of similar to stuff that people ask generally. But yeah, if anyone's got any questions, pop those in the comments. I'm sure we'll get back to you at some point.
yeah.
Let's wrap things up. So thank you so much, Grant, for everything today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in the comments here. We've got some really great thank yous from people. Veronica saying, great tips. Thanks for those insights, Katie and Grant. Similarly for Ivy, amazing webinar. Thanks both for awesome tips. And I missed someone earlier, so thank you
This
as
is
well.
my first time
So,
like doing
yeah.
something like this too, guys. Like, I don't even feel nervous. Another thing too is you cannot be nervous hosting classes online too. A lot of people go, I don't know if I can do it. If you feel like you can't do it, then just, you have to make sure you can publicly speak without having nerves, I guess.
Yeah, this is a really great experience. So thank you so much, Grant. Really appreciate it. Let's wrap things up. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for your wonderful comments. If you're watching the replay, add things in the comments if you've got any more questions. And yeah, thank you so much. Grant, feel free to stick around here in the on-way video, and we can always wrap things up here.
Yeah, again,
We'll
I'll stay until you kick me out.
So thank you, everyone. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, all those wonderful things before you go.